Hi, everyone. I'm London Breed, Mayor of San Francisco, and I am so excited to be here in the Mission. You know, doing this job has been absolutely amazing as someone who was born and raised in San Francisco. And what I always loved about our city had everything to do with its unique neighborhoods. And we know, Miguel's over there shaking his head like, yeah. We know that there's something special about the city, and again, something special about the neighborhoods. And it has everything to do with the people who are a part of these amazing neighborhoods. And I am just really excited about some of the things that we've done and more of what we will do to make sure that we are protecting affordable housing in the Mission for generations to come. Now, we all know the sad history of redevelopment in our city, the community that I grew up in the Western Addition and what happened to that community. A lot of promises were made, a lot of housing was built, but when the time came, for example, in the public housing that I grew up in, 300 units torn down, 200 units built, and the difficulty of so many of us being able to move back to our community. You remember this, Joyce Armstrong, what happened in the Western Addition and how it really sadly destroyed a very vibrant African-American community. And we look at that as a lesson learned, and we have to think about, you know, the challenges that existed back then and what we have to do to change that for the future of San Francisco. If we are going to protect our diversity, if we're going to protect our communities, we have to start making the right kinds of investments. It's why when I was on the Board of Supervisors with this community, Roberto Hernandez was there, and we stood proud to fight for, and Josh Arce, we stood proud to fight for neighborhood preference so that when we actually build the affordable housing in these communities, that the people who live in these communities have right of first refusal to access those units. And it's also when we have revenue in this city that we make the right kinds of investments that will make a tremendous impact for a community. I got to take a tour. In fact, it was a lowrider tour with Roberto, and yes, it was a nice day and the sun was shining, and yes, we were bouncing up and down in the Mission, and people thought I was having a good time and I wasn't there working. I was working. I was on a fact-finding mission to really see what opportunities exist in this community so that we can build more affordable housing. And so we were standing right out here on 26th Street talking to a number of folks who grew up here, some who don't live here anymore because they can't afford to, and others who are just trying to hold on. And they talked about housing, and they talked about their children, and they talked about their future. And, you know, I am just really excited because government sometimes takes a really long time to make things happen. And we were really lucky that we got this windfall money that you guys heard about. And the first thing I thought about were all these sites in the Mission and whether or not we would be able to acquire these sites for 100% affordable housing. And today, that's what this announcement is about. 1515 South Van Ness will be acquired to potentially build 150 new family units. And I gotta tell you, it wasn't necessarily fast for this community because this community had been working so hard to really identify locations, coordinate and work together, and really address what we know has been significant displacement. With the acquisition of this site, along with the 4 sites that we broke ground with for affordable housing with more to come, in the Mission neighborhood, we would have preserved and built over 1,000 new units for this community. Now, we know that this community has a goal of getting to 2,500. And I definitely want to make sure that we get there. But I will say that this is a step in the right direction. And I just also like to put in a plug for the housing bond. $600 million without raising property taxes for affordable housing. We have the money to buy the site, but we need the money to build it. So I'm going to be counting on the voters in San Francisco to support the upcoming housing bond so that we can get this housing built for this community right away and more affordable housing throughout the city of San Francisco. So I want to thank all of you and so many of the community members that have joined us today. It just really is not only a beautiful day in San Francisco, but an exciting time for this community. I've been to 4 groundbreakings in the Mission since I've been mayor. We've looked at other sites and we've been acquiring property. We've been looking at ways on small sites and making tremendous investments. And, you know, this is really just the beginning of what I think is going to be an incredible future for this community. But it won't be that way unless we work hard for it. Because we have to also make sure that the investments happen. We have to make sure that the resources are there to make those investments happen. And we will continue to do everything we can to make sure that the community is a part of this process every step of the way. And before I thank all of the folks that are responsible for this, besides, I just want to give a special shout out to Kate Hartley from the Mayor's Office of Housing for just really all the hard work that she did to make this possible, along with a number of city departments that help, and Jumpstart SF and the MTC, or MTA, which one is it? MTC. We got some money from one of those transportation agencies. So thank you so much for that, and thank you to all the community members and everyone who's with us today, and to acknowledge so many incredible people from this community, including herself, who Myrna Melgar has been just an incredible resource, an incredible advocate, and just working with young people and staying focused. Not only is she the president of the Planning Commission of San Francisco, she runs Jamestown Community Center, an incredible space for young people in this community. Myrna Melgar.
Thank you, Mayor. So I was appointed to the Planning Commission by then President of the Board of Supervisors, London Breed. And people ask me, why are you doing this? So much work. It is a lot of work. But I'm doing it because I, in addition to running the Jamestown Community Center, I'm a mother of 3 girls who were born and raised in San Francisco. And I want them to have a life in San Francisco. I want my family close by. I want my community all around me. It's what makes my life worth living, like many of you. And I think there's no more important thing that we're doing right now than building affordable housing. Yes. And when then President of the Board of Supervisors, Breed, asked me to do this, I was on it because I believed in her vision. So when I saw that she went to HUD to advocate for preference, neighborhood preference, despite decades of people saying, no, it can't be done, people in affordable housing saying it can't be done, she took her advocacy and got it done. And I was so proud of her, you know? Because that was a game changer for us in San Francisco. And, you know, I think that the advocacy that community and this mayor's office is doing in terms of building affordable housing, of just thinking outside the box with small sites, with different ways of getting to where we need to go is amazing and groundbreaking. And I am so proud to be a part of this. So, I think that for the first time, I'm looking around at all of my colleagues in nonprofits and all of the community instigators and collaborators. And this is the moment that I feel like in the whole time I've been in San Francisco where the mission is united. The first time we're all on the same page that we are building affordable housing. We're not only preserving our community, but we are getting it back. Those 8,000 families that have been displaced from San Francisco that are part of our schools, of our churches, of our community organizations, we're getting them back. And we're all working really hard for it. And this project is going to be a part of that story. And we also have a supervisor who is on the same page with us. She has made affordable housing her priority when she ran and also at, during her office. And I am so glad that she's working with us hand in hand. And with that, I'm going to introduce Supervisor Hillary Ronan.
Thank you so much. What an incredible, incredible day. I don't think there's anything that energizes all of us than either breaking ground on an affordable housing site or acquiring an affordable housing site. There's nothing that makes us feel like this work that we do in the city is so important. And when I was running for office, I made a goal and a pledge to build 5,000 units of affordable housing in District 9 in a decade. And I'm counting each and every unit. And right now, we are at 1,182 units. And that is because the mission is united. And not only is the mission united with itself, the mission is united with City Hall, with our mayor, whose priority is housing and affordable housing for this neighborhood, with the supervisor, whose priority is housing and affordable housing for this neighborhood, with the director of the Mayor's Office of Housing and Community Development, whose priority is housing and affordable housing. We are truly, truly united. And we have two extremely strong organizations, affordable housing developers, right here in the Mission District, Mission Housing and Mission Economic Development Agency. And I can't emphasize how important these organizations are. Sam Moss is here, the executive director of one of those organizations, because there was a decade when we didn't build a unit of affordable housing in this neighborhood. And part of that reason was because we didn't have affordable housing developer organizations who were at a stage that they could build housing. Now, we don't even have one, we have two. We have two, and we have a community that is not going to stop for a second fighting for more affordable housing. And I just want, before I hand it over to Roberto Hernandez, many call the mayor of the Mission, I wanted to also thank the former supervisor of District 9, David Campos, because part of the funding to acquire this site, $5 million, was the first time ever David Campos got that money from the MTC. It's a regional transportation body that I now sit on that has never financed affordable housing in its entire existence. But David made the point that you can't talk about transportation and jobs without talking about housing. You can't talk about housing without talking about transportation and jobs. He married those two, and this is the first pilot project for the MTC that they are investing regional dollars in affordable housing. So that's a major milestone as well. So thank you, David Campos, for your hard work. And now I wanted to introduce Roberto Hernandez, who has been on the front lines of this fight from day one. Roberto Hernandez.
Buenos días. ¿Sí se puede? ¿Sí se puede? ¿Sí se puede? But most important, sí se pudo. Come on, let me hear you say it. Sí se pudo. You know, a very wise elderly man taught me at a very young age that we write our own story. Every day when we get up, it's a page that's written, and we can decide how that story is written every day. And then we write chapters, and by the end of our lifetime, there's a book written about us that we write. We're the writers because we're the creators of our own story. But I take it to another level and say that we, as a community here in the Mission, have been writing not one book, but many, many books. Because this story doesn't end here. It's a story that began back many, many years that actually started Mission Housing Development Corporation. It was a story that started off by a group of us who band together called the Mission Coalition Organization, the MCO. And I'm glad to see that my compadre, my brother, Santiago Ruiz is here because he was part of that, and Michael Nolan and Pete Gallegos and many others that are here in this room, in this space here today. And speaking about my compadre, you know what? Happy birthday, feliz cumpleaños. Today is your birthday. And I am so blessed that you're here with us today. This is your gift, my brother. This is your gift. This is your gift. There's senior housing that's being built by Meta right down the street, and I know you're getting ready to retire, so if you need a spot, there's applications are being given out. But where's Meta at? You can go apply with them. You got it, brother? All right, we got a little spot for you. You want you want the top? Penthouse? Okay. All right. But
He's going to be your neighbor.
all right, then I want to be on top. But all kidding aside, our mission, No Eviction, was created by Eric Arguello, myself, and Jose Carrasco. Because we picked up after the dot-com boom, we recognized when we started getting people calling us up saying, hey, I'm getting evicted. And within a period of 90 days, 56 people we knew were getting evicted, And so we formed our mission, No Eviction, which is what did you call it? Instigators? Yeah, we're instigators, but we're revolutionaries and guerrilleros, Really, that's what we are. We're not funded by anybody. We're not incorporated. We don't have bylaws. We don't have a structure. We're just a group of people that band together that have been fighting. And on this land right here, we fought Lennar. And it's a beautiful end of the story, right? We fought Lennar because we knew that we didn't need no more luxury units in our barrio. What we needed was 100% affordable housing, And we tried working with them. We told them, build 100% affordable housing. They said, it doesn't pencil out. Oh, really? I guess you won't make that much money, right? Then we said, build 100% affordable housing for teachers, right? Because teachers need housing. And they make a decent salary, so they could pay a little bit more than somebody who's a dishwasher, right? And they said, it doesn't pencil out, right? And then we said, just give us the land back. Just donate the land back to the community because you're a major corporation. Everybody knows Lennar, right? I mean, they're a major corporation. And this is to me, like a little cucaracha. It's so small compared to all the big projects that they built. But at the end of the day, we lost, and the Planning Commission approved it. The Board of Supervisors approved it. We appealed it, and after appeal, and I want to thank Scott Weaver, who is an attorney who volunteers his time for us and has done so much work for free on pro bono basis. And like him, there's so many other attorneys and so many other people who volunteer their time to give. And so this story ends right here today. And I want to thank Mayor London Breed from my corazon, for going on that cruise with us, And you're right. You don't know how many hits I got on Facebook and Twitter, and everybody's blowing me up. Well, you were cruising with the mayor? Think we were having fun. And so, I've been telling the story. And yeah, we were working. And in fact, there's a picture somebody gathered of me driving and showing her. Sure, I shouldn't have been doing that, but I'm showing her and explaining to her. And it was like magic, for her to go and get this done with Kate. Thank you, Kate. Thank you very much for doing all the work that you did. But for getting this done, because this gives a lot us a major victory, more different than the other ones that we've gotten. But this one, I believe in my corazon that it's going to make a difference, going to give people hope, and it's going to give people an understanding that the times have changed, that we got a mayor who loves and cares the Mission District. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I will say I'm just really excited to see my Potrero Hill folks out here supporting the mission. Thank you all so much for coming out. Thank you to our artist community. Thank you, Deborah and Tammy from the Fillmore. Thank you, Sam Moss, and all of the people who are here and the work that you do to make San Francisco a better place. And I just want to end it by saying that we have to be aggressive when it comes to getting more housing in this city. And yes, the housing bond is significant. It's the largest housing bond ever introduced in this city's history, and it doesn't raise property taxes, but we have to fight to get that bond passed. Let me just also say there are two other measures that I'm proposing, and I'm asking all of you to contact your supervisors for my proposed charter amendment. That charter amendment will make it possible so that all 100% affordable and teacher housing can be built as of right. So when Meta and Mission Housing, when they're trying to go through this process to build housing, and they have, sadly, sometimes people who are trying to stop it, and they're not asking for anything other than what's already required by the code, they need to get it built and get it built faster. And there are people who don't want us to do that. They say they want affordable housing now, but I'm proposing policies that will get that affordable housing delivered now. So contact wherever you live, contact your members of the Board of Supervisors and express how important it is to pass this charter amendment out of the board so that we have no more delays around affordable housing. Our future is depending on it. I don't want what happened to so many of us who actually grew up in this city, born and raised, and then we turned around and we looked and we were wondering, where's our community? They couldn't afford to live here because we have not built enough affordable housing. Yes, everyone wants affordable housing. Yes, everyone wants to make sure that San Francisco remains diverse, but it's going to take work to make it happen. It will take work. It will take changes to policy. It will take bold and brave leadership. So I'm asking for your support to get this done. The other thing that I'm proposing is an ordinance, which I don't have to go through the Board of Supervisors, thank goodness. We're going to put an ordinance on the ballot that will rezone all public property so that when we, excluding parks, ladies and gentlemen, so that when we have an opportunity on public property that's underutilized to build 100% affordable or teacher housing, we can do it without going through a lengthy 2-year rezoning planning process. Everybody's wondering why Francis Scott Key is taking an additional 2 years. Myrna Melgar could tell you why it's taking an additional 2 years, because the property is not zoned for housing. But the community wants teacher housing. I want teacher housing. And so it shouldn't take an additional 2 years to rezone the property. This is how we are going to create a better future. We're going to have to do things differently. We're going to have to make the right investments. And yes, we're going to have to come together, because if we don't want San Francisco to continue to change so significantly, where neighborhoods are neighborhoods that we don't even recognize anymore, we're going to have to make an aggressive investment in affordable housing. That's what today is about. It's an aggressive investment in affordable housing. It is the support from this community that has made it possible. And so I plan to do everything I can to put housing at the forefront of our decisions, at the forefront of our discussions, at the forefront of how we invest our dollars. And so I ask each and every one of you to continue your advocacy to make sure that we not only acquire this property, but we get it done in less time than it typically takes us to get a project like this done. Thank you all. Thank you, Ann Cervantes. Thank you all so much for being here, the Mission community. Now let's get it done. Thank you.